Hi everyone and welcome to a new Bo Reads World video. Today I'm bringing you my February wrap-up, which contains of 3 books. Yes, 3 whole books. It's gonna be a long one. No, it's not. Like I said, 3 books. Wasn't really that good of a reading month, but I think last year in February I didn't finish any books, so progress! The first book that I read was a book by McFarlane, who is a Scottish author, I think. It's Here's Looking at You, which I actually read in Dutch. It still has the price tag on it, which isn't all that professional. Anyway, I picked this up at a book fair some time ago, and yeah, I picked it up one evening to read it, and I didn't put it down, and this is very chiclety, I must say, very twee, very sugary. Beware of cavities if you read this, because yeah, this is about a girl who is in high school and is quite obese, and according to her also very ugly, and then we flash forward to her 30s, and what you know, she's very thin right now and very beautiful, and you know, the ugly duckling has become a beautiful swan, and then she gets confronted with the person who bullied her all those years in high school, and I'm not going to say, but they might fall in love. Ooh. So yeah, gave this 3 stars because it kept my attention for a whole evening, and that was all I needed for that evening, so 3 stars. The next book that I read was something completely different, and that was The Outrun by Amy Liptrot. For those of you who do not know about this book, because it has received quite a bit of attention in 2016, this is about Amy Liptrot herself. This is some kind of memoir about how she grew up on the Orkneys, on Orkney, which is an island way above Scotland, I think. And life there is quite solemn, very sober, very harsh. Everybody has to bow down to nature there, and when she turns 18 she decides that she's had enough and moves down to London, enters a wholly different world, one that includes a lot of drinking, a lot of drugs, and yeah, she spends 10 years there, which aren't the best years of her life in retrospect, because she gets addicted to alcohol and has to go to rehab for several times. She loses all her friends, she loses everything. You know, she can't get a job, she loses the man that she loves. And those aren't really spoilers, because you know all of this in the first 50 pages of the book, I think. And after those 10 years she decides to move back to Orkney, because it's important to her not to be seduced by that London lifestyle, and when she's back on Orkney, there isn't really that much seduction to drink or to do drugs, and she decides to get in touch with nature more. She decides to swim in the ocean, which is actually freezing. She decides to explore more of her, you know, of her home country, of the Orkney Islands, of what makes them the Orkney Islands, and what is the history of them, what is the local culture, something she wasn't really interested in when she was growing up there, but now has a certain kind of allure. Allure? That's a good word. Yeah. And I gave this 4 stars, I think. Let me check. Yeah, I gave this 4 stars because the nature aspect was really fascinating, and it made me want to go and visit the Orkney Islands. But it's a far, far away from home, so who knows if I'll ever end up there. But reading this made me feel a little bit like I was there, so that's always a plus, no? And then finally, the third book that I read was a 5-star book, and was actually a young adult book, which is History Is All You Left Me by Silvera. And I have to say that I don't read all that much YA, which isn't my way of saying that YA is bad or that literary fiction is superior. It's just a genre that I don't pick up that often, so, you know, that happens. And I actually already read one of Silvera's previous books, his debut novel, which was called More Happy Than Not, which I really enjoyed. And This one I also adored because this is about a young gay teenage couple who have all the teenage angst that you can imagine, but when they're 17, one of them gets early admission into a college on the other side of the country, and the other one decides to break up because it would be easier for them to live their lives and maybe find each other again when they're graduated. And you know, the end game is them being together again, but for now they decide it's better to take some distance from each other, literally but also emotionally. Then the one that moves away gets a new boyfriend, and you know, that wasn't what the other one had expected. And then he dies, which you discover on the first page, and the one who gets left behind is, you know, distraught, is totally fucked up about it, and he starts talking in his mind to the one that has died, and he says, you know, you promised me that we'd be together again, that we'd find each other again, you promised me, you literally promised me that you wouldn't die, and you know, you died, you drowned, and history is all that you left me. And yeah, this book, I won't say that it reduced me to tears, but you know, they got a little moisty. So like I said, a lot of teenage angst, which is something that you have to read in doses, but Adam Silvera is a master of, you know, reminding yourself about how you were as a teenager, and in a way I recognize myself in this book, for better or for worse. So yeah, I definitely recommend this one and also his previous one if you would like to discover a bit more of his work. So yeah, quite an emotional read. So those were the 3 books that I read in February. I'm hoping that March will be a far more productive month, which it usually is if I look at my statistics, because, you know, I have my book statistics. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or recommendations based on those 3 books, please leave them down below, and I'll see you next time. Who knows, with a book haul. Bye.